Hi everyone. A beautiful day outside, so I thought I'd make another video outside. You may have noticed I make fewer and fewer videos inside the shop. It's nice to come outside and enjoy some fresh air, and so here I am doing that. I wanted to take a moment and thank everyone. I noticed that I've crossed another little marker, the 1,200 subscriber mark, and I'd like to see if I can cast the net of thank yous so wide so as to be indistinguishable from ass kissing. So I would like to thank all of the regular commenters on my channel, first and foremost. I mentioned in a comment recently that I feel like I'm in good company. I'm really pleased to be in and amongst those of you who engage with me and engage with one another in the comments section of my videos. I mean that in all sincerity. I really do love you people, and I've learned a lot, and I love watching, sometimes even just as a third party, watching the back and forth between some of you. I keep an eye on all that, and it's really interesting to see sometimes the friction build up a little bit and then settle down, and people swayed one way or another. It's very interesting to watch, and I really appreciate it. I would also like to say a thank you, of course, to all of the quiet bystanders. I've got 1,200 subscribers. I certainly don't have 1,200 commenters. So I want to take a moment and just recognize, as someone commented on my channel recently, the fact that the quiet majority sometimes have a lot to gain from this discussion as well. And even though you may or may not comment, I appreciate that you're here, and I would encourage you, of course, to become part of the discussion. But even if you choose not to, I very much appreciate your subscription and look forward to providing more content as time goes on and all that good stuff. Having said all that, I would like to comment a little bit on Deletion-Gate. Now, it's kind of been covered, right? Jack Ketch and did a great video, and Karen S. did a great mirroring of that video where she added some of her own content. And I think they've pretty much covered it. And I don't think that this is a horse that needs to be beat to death. But I do have a comment, and I would like to sort of take a little bit of a unique stance on Deletion-Gate, as Bible Thumping Wingnut himself coined it. And that is his original comment to me that started all this, and the video that it was in response to, and how that all relates to what the intent and purpose would be of his comment, and then the playing around with the comments, deleting comments that are sort of pointing out certain facts, like that he had used all of his sock accounts to +1 his comment, and then coining these phrases, oh, the atheist drama, Deletion-Gate, and then continuing this behavior on Jack Ketch's and Karen S.'s videos. I have some questions about that, and I think the first thing we need to do is actually review his comment. So first of all, let's keep in mind that this comment was in response to a video that I'd made entitled, Fundamentalist, Who Am I to You?, where I lamented basically that there's no real expectation of reasonable dialogue with a fundamentalist. This is what I've come to understand, and it is lamentable. I dislike the fact that I feel there's nothing to be gained from conversation with a Matthew 4:19 or a Bible Thumping Wingnut, because I already know what they're going to say. The answer to every question I already know, and so we can't engage in hypotheticals or thought experiments. We can't have any meaningful dialogue, because really, essentially, it is not a dialogue. And his response to that video, which on my part was heartfelt and sincere, his response was, clearly this has taken a toll, a great toll, in your thinking. Understandably so. Having your worldview exposed as foolishness day after day has gotten to you. Matthew 4:19 has you cornered. He has shown you biblically, logically, and rationally how your position is self-refuting, incoherent, and absurd. I wouldn't want to talk to him if I were you either. Now, I have to ask myself the question when reading a comment like that, what is the intent there? Because it certainly doesn't seem like it's the same stated intent that these presuppositionalists would tell you, that they're trying to get through to you to save your soul. This comes across a lot more like gloating. Like, ha, we win, you lose. Now, of course, he's completely misrepresented and mischaracterized everything I said in the video. He's assuming motives on my part for sort of ending the dialogue that I've not expressed. So he's making assumptions that are not in evidence. But I have to wonder what the motives are. Now, to me, I come to two possibilities. Either his motives are not his intentions are not what he states. In other words, he's not really all that concerned for my soul. This is really about bullying and winning and refuting and reducing to absurdity. Or he lacks tact. He simply, categorically doesn't understand how to get through to people. But I would say this, if his intent is truly to save my soul, if he really believes that I am slated for an eternal damnation in a lake of fire, he's acting extremely irresponsibly. If I were to think, if I felt that I had some foreknowledge of an accident that Tim might have on a I don't know what highways he travels on, the I-5, whatever, and I begged him, Tim, I know you're going to get into an accident if you take this road, please take a different road. And I begged him that I had this knowledge, and he refused to understand. And he took the I-5 anyway, and he got into a horrific accident, and his injuries were fatal, and he's on his last couple of dying breaths, and I was able to get there. The last thing that I would do is gloat and say, I told you so, man. I was right and you were wrong. You see, I got you cornered. No, I would be saying to him, Tim, I'm so sorry I failed you. I'm so sorry that I was unable to get through to you. I knew this was going to happen, and I have failed you. And I would think the same. And of course, this pales in comparison to what Tim believes is about to happen. In this case, I would only be believing that he is about to die, and his life is going to be cut short, and he's going to leave his family too soon. In this case, Tim believes that I am destined for an eternal stay in a lake of fire, eternal torment and torture, and of course, the absence of all the wonderful pleasures and gifts of being in heaven. And the most he can do is resort to this gloating. What would be consistent to me with that stated intent would be to say, Mike, I'm so sorry we failed you. You've clearly closed off communication. And I truly believe this is not good for you. And I lament that we have failed you. We weren't able to get through to you. And I take responsibility for that. It pains me. It hurts me to know what's going to happen to you because we weren't able to get through to you. And again, when it comes to intent, I'm not going to assign that to Tim. I'll let him speak for himself. But to me, it's either the intent isn't what's stated, or it's a complete lack of tact on a colossal scale. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for intent when he follows it up by doing things like adding a bunch of plus ones to his own comment from his various sock accounts, and then deleting comments after the fact, and then coining phrases like Deletion-Gate, oh, the atheist drama. Again, this all doesn't speak towards intent. I believe it's in Leviticus where it says, you should not deceive one another. So if you really feel like you need to get through to me, that your worldview is accurate and save my soul, I don't think that it works to tell me that you come from this virtuous position that says we should not deceive one another and then engage in deceptive activity and expect me to see the virtuous nature of your worldview. It's incongruent, as I said in one of the comments, sections there. Now, I understand that this discussion between atheists and theists, especially fundamentalists and especially, hard atheists or whatever you'd like to call them, gets very heated, and there tends to be a lot of lobbing of flaming arrows. And someone at some point's got to stop lobbing the arrows. Now, in some ways, my video about fundamentalists, who am I to you, where I lamented that we can't really have a discussion, was sort of a waving of a white flag for me. It was saying, listen, I'm just going to have to disengage because I don't see where we're going with this. I was going to cease with the arrows. And, they just keep coming. They keep coming. In fact, I tried to show some integrity, as I do hold integrity quite dear. I tried to show some integrity after I had banned the Bible Thumping Wingnut from my channel, which removed his original comment, by reposting it and saying, here's what the Bible Thumping Wingnut's comment was. And I reposted it in its entirety, copy and paste. There was no editing done or anything like that. And the most Tim could think to do was once again to copy and paste his own reply to that. Deletion-Gate. Oh, the atheist drama. I think the thing to do when someone tries to show some integrity, in other words, someone says, I'm not going to lob that flaming arrow over the wall this time, I'm going to lob something else. I'm going to lob a sign, a signal that a truce can be had here, is to cease with the flaming arrows. I think that's the thing to do, and unfortunately it didn't happen. I don't know where you go from here. I would like to give Tim an opportunity to recognize, to have a look in the mirror and recognize what's really taken place here, and to kind of come clean. And maybe a lot of healing could come out of that. I wish I could say that I'm optimistic about that. And at this point, I'm just not sure. I would love Tim to surprise me. I would love Tim to really shock us all, and to live by the virtues that he claims, you know, the only basis for. And finally, I'll just end again, getting back to intent. When it comes to intent about what you're doing, if you really believe that my soul hangs in the balance, I wish you'd act a little bit more responsibly. And of course, there are many more souls technically that would hang in the balance. Tim's only answer to any of this was never, actually, I will say too, there was never really any indication that he denied any of this. The closest he came was to say, do you realize how important YouTube comments actually are? And the implication was that they're not. And of course, this is again incongruent, because if you don't believe they're important, you wouldn't make any, you wouldn't delete any, and you wouldn't +1, you wouldn't take the time to log into your own sock accounts and +1 your own comment. And as the Space Frog said, oh, what did the Space Frog say? One moment, please. Okay, I have it now. The Space Frog said, how you conduct yourself in the comments section of other people's videos is important, because at the end of the day, it is your conduct. And I think that's a valid point. You know, if you don't think it's important, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be doing it. And so I think it's important, obviously, to hold yourself to the same standards you would hold others, to act morally if you're going to claim you have the only basis for morality. At this point, you have a whole bunch of atheists who are endeavoring to act far more morally than you are. And so I would echo what H.S. Finch had posted. Why not walk the talk? Why not come clean and take stock, look in the mirror, and let's mend some bridges? If not, obviously my previous video stands on its own legs, and I'm going to move on. I've got actually another video that I'm planning that hopefully will be a little bit more fun, to kind of break free from all of this nonsense and get into some other videos. I got a bunch of stuff planned, time permitting. So once again, thanks everyone very, very much for commenting, subscribing, liking my videos, for looking out for one another, and for looking out for truth and reason and ethics and morality. I really do love all you people for all of that. Thanks as always for watching.